What up, kids? It's Logan today, and we're here for my first real video. Last video was an intro, but today is actually getting into it. And today we're doing NBA franchises, which is including like the front office, how they're doing, how they're handling their team, as well as how good their team are and how they're expected to perform. And we're ranking each NBA franchise 1 through 30. And number 30 is going to be the Charlotte Hornets. They're just bad. Everything about them is bad. Their three highest paid players were kind of overhyped and kind of did something really well. Looked like they were going to be amazing players for about 10 seconds, and then they were offered $20+ million contracts. Bismack Biyombo, Nicholas Batum, for some reason, who's getting paid $52 million within the next 2 years. And then you got Terry Rozier for, 4-year, $20 million contract. They don't really have a direction. Jordan, I don't know what you're doing with this team, but you got to fix it because you're not doing it right. You're not doing its justice for the city of Charlotte, and it's just hard to watch. Number 29, Cleveland Cavaliers, mostly because just ever since LeBron left, it's just you can't watch them either. It's hard to watch. They still have Kevin Love, who they should trade. Tristan Thompson, not his double-double machine. They have Clarkson and Nance. I guess those are the two positives. Colin Sexton looking really nice. Darius Garland looking like a risk, but they're just not a good team. They don't manage it really well. And hopefully they trade Kevin Love. If they don't trade Kevin Love by the trade deadline, then I don't know what they're doing. I don't know their direction. Number 28 is Phoenix. They're above Cleveland because Devin Booker. That's about it. They have DeAndre Ayton, who would be a way better and well-recognized player if he got touches. But that's about it. Their direction is just terrible. Booker is probably going to drop like 28 points per game, and no one will talk about it. Number 27, the New York Knicks. You trade Kristaps away for nothing. It's just a mess. You know, Madison Square Garden is the Medina to Barclays Mecca. We're living in a world where players want to go to play for the Brooklyn Nets and the Los Angeles Clippers. What has the world come to? But the Knicks, they have R.J. Barrett, which is a positive. They have 4 power forwards. They're all decent, but, not star players. And, yeah, the Knicks, they blew it. They really blew it. And I just like watching Stephen A. Smith go crazy about how bad that team has been managed. James Dolan, please sell the team. I'm not even a Knicks fan. I'm saying that. Number 26, the Washington Wizards. You, Bradley Beal, John Wall, those guys, you should try to trade as soon as possible. Don't get invested in those contracts. You're not going to win with those guys. Rebuild. Start your rebuild, because as long as you keep those guys, you're not rebuilding. You got Rui Hachimura, who I think is going to be really well. I think he's going to drop 14, 15 points per game this year, which seems about right. He will be the second option. Thomas Bryant, a decent center. But, yeah, it's not good to watch. Number 25, Minnesota. I have them very low because they don't really have a good direction. They have Cat and Jarrett Culver, who looks like those are the young guys, the two young guys they're going to surround the team with. Wiggins can't put his game together. He just do what Zach LaVine is blending his game much better, and that's why he's dropping 20-something points per game, because he blended his game. He finally got to where he should be. Andrew Wiggins is a number 1 overall pick, and he hasn't gotten there yet. I don't think he's ever going to develop to the way people have hoped. Okogie's a decent player, but once again, they don't have those guys to get to the next level, back to playoff Tim rules, which was first round, and that was with Jimmy Butler. Yeah, number 24, Memphis. Ja Morant, Triple J, Jonas Valanciunas. That's about it. It's a decent team. It's going to be a great team to watch in the future. They signed a lot of young guys. They'd be much higher, but I just like how the way they're going, and hopefully they can do something well and maybe build around Ja and Triple J. Jaren Jackson Jr. I have as the favorite to win Most Improved Player of the Year, and I think he's going to benefit the most on having Ja on the team. Number 23, of course, for Jordan, it's the Chicago Bulls. I love the starting lineup. Kobe White and Zach LaVine, they're going to soon become probably one of the more athletic backcourts in the league. Otto Porter finally developing on the way he should be. Lauri Markkanen, just looking like Dirk every day. And then you got Wendell Carter, who, is one of the best shot blocking rookies. I think he's going to develop to be one of the better defenders in the league. And that's about it, though. Their bench is a little weak. That's what they got to do. They just got to build their bench, and they could actually become a great team in a few years from now. Number 22, Oklahoma City. Mostly you're up here because, I don't know, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a whole bunch of draft picks. You got Chris Paul, but as soon as you trade him, it's going to be back. And technically, this is not Chris Paul's first year playing in Oklahoma City because he was on the New Orleans Hornets when Hurricane Katrina hit, and they played in Oklahoma City. That's weird. That's actually surprising. A lot of people don't really talk about that. Number 21, the Atlanta Hawks. Young core. Very young core. They're just not there yet. Trae Young, John Collins, DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish, Bruno Fernando, Kevin Huerter, and the guy who I think is going to get lost in the touch is going to be DeAndre Bembry. I like this team. You also have Damian Jones and Alex Len. It's actually a decent team. I think they're gonna sneak into the playoffs, and they're pretty low mostly because there's some teams that are better than them. Number 20 is Detroit. I have Detroit over Atlanta because Blake Griffin, Andre Drummond, Derrick Rose off the bench. This team's going to make the playoffs just because Derrick Rose is going to carry that bench, and it's going to help them score a little bit more points. And I think Seku's going to do really well there as well. Number 19, Orlando Magic. I know a few people were going to hate me for this on having them low, but they're running it back. For what? They didn't let Vucevic walk, which I think was a horrible decision. Now you're stunting Mo Bamba's, development. And you got Kem Birch as well, so you have three centers all fighting when one guy, one of the most hyped up prospects with one of the most hyped up songs. And yet he's getting pretty much no love. I don't know where Magic are going. They can't rebuild unless they get rid of Nikola Vucevic. That's what I said about the Wizards, and that's what I'm saying about the Magic. I get rid of those big contracts, and you can start rebuilding. Number 18, Sacramento. De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, Marvin Bagley. You got those three young guys. You got that core. Now you got to build around them. They didn't start this for some reason this offseason, so they have, it'll take time, but this team's gonna be really good in the near future. I have them barely out of the playoffs in the West. Number 17, the Dallas Mavericks. You're up here because Luka and Kristaps. That's really it. And I'm mad the Magic had to get Vucevic back because I wanted Vucevic to go to the Dallas, and then you had a Euro trio, but that didn't happen. And really, this team would be much higher if the bench and the supporting cast was much better. Number 16 is the New Orleans Pelicans. Zion, Drew Holiday, Jackson Hayes, Derek Favors, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Lonzo Ball, J.J. Redick, if I didn't say his name. It's a great team. It's a good team. Not great yet, but it's good. And I think not this year, but next year they're going to be a playoff team in the West. It's going to work out. You bought the Lakers' future. You got rid of Anthony Davis, and you still got Zion. So it's they're doing something right down in New Orleans. Number 15, Miami, mostly because you got Jimmy Butler and you got Tyler Herro, who is looking like to be a good player. Justice Winslow, he's developing. Bam Adebayo's getting minutes. Just trade Goran Dragic for a better player. Get a better point guard. But you guys are gonna make the playoffs and be losing the first round. That's how the Miami Heat are gonna go. Number 14, the Toronto Raptors. Spicy P is gonna drop 22 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists per game next season. It's just he's gonna be a star. He's gonna be a breakout star, maybe an all-star, a borderline all-star probably. Kyle Lowry, consistent point guard, a great regular season point guard. They're gonna make the playoffs, losing the first round. But, I like the team, mostly just Spicy P. Number 13, my team, the Spurs, San Antonio. It is hard to watch this team. Because we know what's happening. In 2 years from now, Greg Popovich is going to be gone. DeMar DeRozan is going to be gone. LaMarcus Aldridge is going to definitely be gone. Hopefully, and I just pray that DeJounte Murray, Derek White, Lonnie Walker, they develop to become great players. And I also hope that Tim Duncan becomes a head coach after Greg Popovich. Because if Tim Duncan becomes the head coach after Pop, the dynasty could still be alive because Tim Duncan could be a great coach. Pretty much a younger Popovich. Number 12, the Boston Celtics. They got Kemba Walker, who's going to be better than Kyrie in Boston. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. That's what it is. Trey Gordon, Hayward, going to be better. I'd rank you guys higher because you'd have free up cap space and, maybe get a better player out of it. You lost Kyrie, Al Horford, and Marcus Morris, which is tough. It is tough. But I think they did a good job as best as they could with Cantor. Then they nailed 5 picks in the draft. They had Romeo Langford, Grant Williams, Carson Edwards, Tremont Waters, Taco Fall. Those are all good picks. I really like where they're going. And, just watch out for them in the near future. Number 11, the Indiana Pacers. I would have had them in the top 10, and when I started thinking, I'm like, no. They got to be out. They got to be out of the top 10, sadly. I really like this team. Brogdon, hopefully he can go back to being what he used to be, the rookie of the year that shouldn't have been. Yeah, fun fact, Malcolm Brogdon was rookie of the year, not Joel Embiid. But, that's whatever. But him, Victor Oladipo, I think he's going to come back guns blazing. You got TJ Warren, Sabonis off the bench, or not off the bench, he's starting now, which I didn't like. I'd rather have him off the bench to be that explosive guy. And then you have Miles Turner. And it's a good team. 3 or 4 seed in the East. Could get to the second round. I like where this team's going. Maybe in the future they can be those Eastern Conference contenders. Number 10, the Portland Trailblazers. I would have them higher, but Nurkic is hurt. That's pretty much it. Dame Dalla and CJ McCollum, arguably second or third best. Actually, yeah, I have them as the second best backcourt in the league. And hopefully they trade Hassan Whiteside. I'd say Hassan Whiteside and a couple second-round picks for Kevin Love. That could happen. And if so, Kevin Love will fit in that system perfectly. He'd bring back number 42. I think it'd work nice. Nasir Little, they probably had the best steal in the draft. And I like what they're going to be doing in the future. I'd watch for them. They could beat people. Maybe go back to the Western Conference Finals. I doubt it, but who knows? Number 9, the Golden State Warriors. After making this list, I just had them creeping up higher and higher and higher, but eventually I had to stop. Number 9, you still have Steph. D'Angelo Russell, you added in with that core, that championship core. Draymond, Steph, and Clay, who's going to come back, and I think he's going to be as good as he was. I actually think Curry and Russell, they're going to bounce off each other. I think they're going to play off each other pretty well. Cauley-Stein also, decent center signing. This team could still contend. I would not be surprised if they get to the Western Conference Finals. A lot of the teams in the West is what's crazy about them. They can all throw in the argument on how they can get to the Western Conference Finals. The Warriors still have that chance. They're a great team. I enjoy them. I enjoy watching them. I don't cheer for them. I just like watching them, mostly because Steph and Clay make amazing shots. Number 8, Brooklyn Nets, Kyrie, KD. Do I need to say more? You're not as high because KD's hurt. That's really it. They still have a great core around them. Probably going to be the Eastern Conference champs next season, not this upcoming season. And yeah, big things looking up for Brooklyn. It's weird. Players want to play for the Nets and the Clippers rather than the Knicks and the Lakers. And it's something else. 13 years ago, if you'd say that, people would call you insane, and newer times, I guess. Number 7, I have the Houston Rockets. I think Westbrook and Harden, I think it's going to work. I think it's going to work. Don't put me on it. I just think it's going to work out. It's Mike D'Antoni, one of the greatest offensive coaches of all time. He'll figure it out. PJ Tucker, Kenneth Faried, Eric Gordon, Austin Rivers, I think. Yes. Clint Capella. It's still a decent team. Probably going to be a regular season team. Don't be surprised if they're, a 4 seed or higher in the West. They're going to win a lot of games in the regular season. They're going to not showing up in the playoffs, though. Number 6, I have the Denver Nuggets. Problem is they ran it back. I love the team. Vucevic, MVP candidate this year, borderline MVP candidate. Jamal Murray, I think he's going to have a big step up this year. But it's just the same team. And with that Western Conference, it's hard, it's hard to, if you didn't get better, if you didn't add another player, it's kind of hard and you might get lost in the shuffle. But I still think they're going to be a pretty decent team. Number 5, the Utah Jazz. I have no idea. I just love the Utah Jazz. Love watching them. Love what they did in the free agency. They have a great bench surrounding a great starting lineup, who's, once again, will be the best defensive teams in the league because Rudy Gobert. And you got Joe Ingles and Bogdanovich as wing shooters. Mike Conley's taking less pressure off Donovan Mitchell. It seems going to blend really well together, and they're going to do great things. I have them as, I think, a 3 seed in the West, 2 or 3 seed in the West, and they're that good. I do rely on them. This is the best Jazz team we've seen. Maybe. I think the Jazz haven't been this hyped up since Stockton and Malone. Don't quote me on that, but that's just my opinion. Number 4, the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, before I say anything about the Bucks, follow this man named Christopher London. If you know LSK, is a big 2K YouTuber. Man's 6'10", and he posted a picture next to Giannis, and Giannis looked like he was 3 inches taller than him. They probably were both wearing basketball shoes, so. And if he's 6, and if Chris LSK is 6'10", tall guy, but Giannis is looking like he's 7'1", 7'2". It's insane. And I think he's going to have another MVP season. I think he's going back to back. He's 24 years old and won MVP. And I heard he's developing a jump shot. It's terrifying. And I tell people, if Giannis had a better jump shot, he'd be the most unguardable player of all time. If he had a jump shot. That's just, he's slowly developing it. And if it gets to where it is and he keeps up his physicality, he may win MVP a lot more than just once. Anyway, number 3, the Lakers. Not number 2 because you trade away your future. You got LeBron and AD. You're probably going to win a championship this year. Do I really need to say much? Number 2, the Sixers, Philadelphia, because you traded away Jimmy Butler to get Josh Richardson and Al Horford. You kept Tobias Harris. And you got the 2 young guys of Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, which are way past a lot of other guys at that age on just star power. And I think this team's going to be really well. I think they will be representing the East in the finals against one of the LA teams. But I don't think they're going to win the finals, but I like where they're going. Who knows? Maybe they could surprise people and win the finals and complete the process. Number 1, of course, it's the LA Clippers. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And what we have learned now is that forever they tried to get to play with each other. R.C. Buford, if you don't know, he's the GM for the Spurs. Kawhi Leonard went up to him and said, "Hey, can you get Paul George here?" And he said, "No." And now I have to sit and watch as Kawhi and Paul George in L.A. possibly win a championship for the Clippers. But they do have a lot of players I like. Pat Bev, Landry Shamet. They have Ivica Zubac at center. I don't really like him that much. But the bench, JaMychal Green, Montrezl Harrell, and the headliner for that bench is Lou Will. This team is the most complete team in the NBA. They're looking really well. They're leaving Staples Center. This team is amazing. I think they're going to win a championship either this year or next year, without a doubt. you could go endless about how great the Clippers are. But yeah, so that's gonna be it. Number 1 was the Clippers, 2 the Sixers, 3 the Lakers, 4 Bucks, 5 Utah, 6 was Denver, 7 was Houston, 8 was Brooklyn, 9 was Golden State, and Portland was 10. West heavy, shocker. But so yeah, that's it for today. Tomorrow, expect the NFL teams ranked. Sorry, it was a little long, but you gotta go through 30 teams. And you gotta say why. So that's how it is. So yeah, I'm gonna be cycling through between NBA, NFL, and other things. It's just gonna be a cycle. So keep the things fresh, and also not be one sport only channel, unlike some other people. But yeah, that's it for today. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Just like, comment, subscribe down below. And if you have any opinions that you need me to talk about, you can always message me on Instagram or down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.